Hello, you're welcome to this session, and it's been a very great year starting, and our hope is that everyone starts the year on a very, very great and amazing note. And with that, I officially welcome you to this year's first training for the year. And today we'll be taking a look at what we call Ready, Set, Work. What we're looking at is motivating your employees to be productive and efficient in the year 2023. My name is Kehinde Omiale, and I will be your facilitator for today's session. Wishing and looking forward to a very amazing time of learning and value addition. So that being said, let's go right straight into it. One of the first and foremost things that we need to understand, even as we begin to advance towards the year, is the reality that is on the ground. Now, you need to understand that the difficulty level of the job has dramatically increased. It's been raised. This means that when we're talking about task management or work expectations, the level has been increased. Now, that also being said, we need to understand that the corporate competition is getting fiercer. We had a lot of exoduses last year and even this year of people moving outside the country to work. So that means that the competition we have even on ground has become a bit fiercer. That being said, the global economy as we know it is not smiling. There is inflation, there is recession, a lot of organizations are laying off their workers, and so you know that things are really tough out there. And that being said, the resolution of companies and organizations is that they will only begin to seek to work with people who deliver more value. That means that no matter what the work it is that you do, you must be ready and be on board to deliver more value than you did in 2022 or in the previous year. That is very important. And so one of the key things we need to have in mind as we advance into this session is that to deliver value as a person or for your organization, you will need to bring your A game. Anything short of your A game will not be the best thing for you or for your organization. And that means that every organization will continue to seek for people who can deliver a lot more value. And having that on ground, that may not be a very good position for you, especially if you are not bringing up your A game. This brings us into personal effectiveness, and we'll be taking a look at the core of the corporate reinvention for maximum productivity. Now, it's very important as we begin to advance into this to look at what are the areas in your life that you really want to succeed in this year. Now, different people will have different areas based on the feedback they got last year. And now we've been able to find out that at least majority of people usually look for areas of growth along this general path. It's either they go through the path of education where they want to learn more and increase the level of the skill set that they have, or they want to increase the quality of the network of the people around them. For some people, they want to increase the amount of money they get to make in the year. While for other people, they're thinking of career advancement, climbing that career ladder, getting into management position, and having this sense of fulfillment. For other people, they're thinking about families and they really want to leave a legacy and lasting impressions with the people who have invested in them all these years. But for all of us, I also believe that we need to create a path for our health and our physical size in order to be able to make sure that we have a body to do every other thing we want to do in this world. And finally, not the least, spirituality is also something a lot of people believe is very important and paramount. And so I want you to look at these factors. These are the areas that you need to begin to allocate certain success metrics into. so that by the end of 2023, you can look back and say, yes, I have improved in education, I have improved in my social life, in family, in my finances, in career advancement and development, in my health and wellness and nutrition, and also in my spiritual life. All of these are key and core. Now, when we dive into personal effectiveness, we need to understand what we're talking about. When we say personal effectiveness, it actually does mean that it is the way that a person makes use of all of their skills and how they use these skills to improve their overall success. So what are the skills you need to improve your health and wellness, on your career and your job, in connecting with other people and improving the quality of your network, or whether we're talking about spirituality, whether we're talking about education, all of these things are important. And personal effectiveness is that map that would actually take you there. When we're talking about personal effectiveness, we also need to understand the fact that it is a skill that we must use daily. It's not just about waiting to the end of the year to get things done. It's about each and every day. What did you do last month that moves you towards your goal? What did you do last week that moves you towards your goal? What did you do last night? And are they moving you towards your goal? We must begin to look at personal effectiveness in this way. Now, the overall arcing of the goals of personal effectiveness that even you as an organization or as an employee must have are the following. Now, you must think about delivering high quality work every time. The second thing is that you must seek to make people around you happy. Let people be happy working with you. Your superiors, your subordinates, your team members, everyone must be happy working with you. You must also take the position of leadership where you have positive influence on the people around you. And also, we talked about that career advancement. You must seek to improve. You cannot stay at the same point and say that you are increasing in value. It doesn't work that way. You also need to create and keep successful relationships around you. The core of this is that you do not do life alone. You have to earn respect from your colleagues by being exemplary and excellent in the way you go about your work and your task and everything expected of you. And we cannot take away the part where everybody wishes to make some good money out of their years and months and everything that is set to do. You also have to think of expertise, becoming an expert in a specific field, so that when people have a problem, your name is the one that comes to mind. So these are some of the things you need to actually do have when it comes to your personal effectiveness goal. It's about looking at all the areas of your life and looking at the areas you need to improve in order for your perception and the quality and your experience of life generally to be improved to a very good level. So what are the skills that you need to master as an effective professional everywhere you find yourself? There's a common maxim that says that everything rises and falls on leadership. The kind of responsibility you have towards your personal growth and development, and even your organizational growth and development, is very, very key. How you also manage time is important, because time, they say, is life. You must also become very observant in what is known as situational awareness. That means you must be able to spot the things around you, look at it critically, and find out if there are any problems or challenges along the way. It is people who are situationally aware that are often proactive in the way they engage with work and with the people around them. You must also begin to learn how to connect with people in your workplace and support them whenever it is needed. You also have to be confident in yourself. And this is where skills, knowledge, expertise, all of these things come together and create that sense of confidence in the way you speak, in the way you demonstrate, even in the way you tackle problems and challenges. Change management is there as well. Entrepreneurship, when you think like the owner. Have you ever thought about it? That what is the owner of my organization thinking? What goes through their mind? How do they make sure that at the end of the month, everyone gets paid? What are the systems and structures they have to put in place so that the organization does not become bankrupt? This is entrepreneurial thinking, and you need to begin to think in this way in order to become a very effective professional. You also need to learn how to be flexible, because sometimes you plan for certain things, but things don't always go the way you have planned. And so you have to be very adaptable and flexible so that you do not miss your eye, take your eyes away from the goal, but you can always tweak the way in which you reach that goal eventually. And so when we're talking about this personal effectiveness, you must understand the core areas of ownership, execution, discipline, and learning agility. We've talked about the ownership when we're expressing about entrepreneurship and leadership. So you need to have an end-to-end ownership. Know how things start and know how things end. The full cycle of things, the more you know it, the better entrepreneurial you are, and then you can be in charge of situations. Entrepreneurship and ownership also means that you must learn to discover stated and unstated needs. That's where the situational awareness actually does come in. Result orientation is key because it's not just about the amount of work you put into something, is actually the amount of result that comes out of all of that work. And when we're talking about execution, it's three things: the speed of the execution, the purpose of the execution, and the accuracy of that execution. That is what makes you an effective professional. And you cannot do life without some level of discipline, personal courage, confidence, emotional intelligence. All of these soft skills are the things you need to make this new year a better year for you. And so you must think in terms of the assessment and the mitigation of risk. You must be proactive in your communication. You must be a couple of steps ahead. That means you're thinking entrepreneurially. And that also means that you must be able to multitask effectively. You cannot live and grow in the same organization if you remain at the same point. And that means you must improve on your continuous learning and development. Have a curious mind, have an open mind. You must have motivation to learn new things, new ways of doing things, easier ways of doing things, making complex things simple. All of these things will begin to chart a course for you, even in the path of your advancement. And so you need to understand the core thing, that your success is first your responsibility before it is the responsibility of your organization and your company. It's true, and that's the way it has to be. So you have to take the pole position in your growth and development. Now, for an organizational person or for a professional person, what are some of these key areas that you need to put a bit of focus on? Number one, how you manage tasks is very important. You must become efficient in delivering tasks. Also, how you manage your emotions, emotional intelligence. Also, how you manage time. Are you quick? Are you swift? Are you excellent? And also, last but not the least, how you manage your energy. If you do not have energy, you will not be able to deliver on anything that is given to you. And so one of the core things we'll also be looking at as we begin to advance here is to just take a look at this and have a mental response of what your answer is. So which of the following challenges seems the most critical to your 2023 success in your workplace? So is it time management? Is it goal setting? Is it critical thinking or problem solving? You need to decide. So take a time to think, ponder, and find out which of these areas has actually been the most challenging for you, and then seek how you can improve in that area and become a better person. So let's get things started. Now we're going into time management, which is very key. They say time is money. Now, when we're talking about time management, what exactly is it? And how can we leverage on this to make our year so much better? Now, when we're talking about time management, The core thing we need to have at the back of our mind, it has to do with organization and management of time. And the goal is to be effective in your tasks and your goals. It means everything you have set for yourself to do, you are able to do them in record time. So how do you make that happen? You must know how to prioritize your tasks and maintain good productivity levels. Priority is the name of the game, meaning you do the things that are important first so that you'd have more time and fresh brains to be able to tackle them. We're also going to talk a bit of them along the way. And so this involves setting priorities, making schedules, and also you have to stick with the things you've been able to do. We will be talking about some of the time management tools that would help you to be more effective in your planning. But before we go right into that, let's look at the benefits of time management. As a working professional, as a manager, as a team leader, even as an employee, what are the benefits of time management for you as a person? Number one, it helps with improved productivity. What does that mean? Priority management. You are able to do the most important things first, which is very key. And that's what you're being paid to do as an employee. Number two, it takes away the stress or at least reduces it. Okay. What we need to understand is that time management actually helps you to be more in control of workload. It allows you to work easier, better, and faster. And so you have a better use of your time because you're focusing it on the right things and you're taking the wrong things away from it. We also need to understand that it is not a good thing that everything about your life is circled around your work. You need that work-life balance so that you can balance your life and expectations as well. And the fifth thing we're also going to mention here is that it guarantees greater success. Now, you will be able to accomplish more in life when you have a better sense and judgment of time. It's true. So when we have gone into these benefits of time management, what are some of these tools that would actually now make us apply the concept of time management better? We have to-do lists and calendars. We have the Pomodoro timers. We have project management and productivity tools. And also we have the Eisenhower box. We're going to talk about all of these things, so no need to worry. Let's start from the first one, to-do lists and calendars. How can we maximize this for productivity and time management? Number one, when we're actually using calendars and to-do lists together, the goal is for us to be able to schedule things in time or ahead of time. It allows us to be able to plan a whole lot better. So apps like Todoist, TimePage, Google Calendar, Apple Calendar are very good resources that allow you to plan. And so this prevents the option of you forgetting things that you're supposed to do in the day. It also allows the time you're supposed to do it and how long that process is supposed to take. And so from time management, we now go into the Pomodoro timer. Now, the way the Pomodoro timer works is very simple. Once you have certain tasks that you're supposed to do and engage with in a day, what you are now supposed to do is to break those things into smaller chunks. And so when you break them into smaller chunks, you set traditionally about 25 minutes to be completely focused on the work that you're doing. That means you don't check your phones, you don't stand up, you're not distracted by anything else. You are totally and fully focused on the work. And after 25 minutes is done, you take a 5 minutes break to relax and to recharge your brain. And then you keep doing this over and over again. Now, the reason why this is done is that it always gives time for the brain to refresh itself so that you don't get very tired when you're already just halfway done. It keeps the brain fresh and makes sure that you still have that mental energy to continue the work of your day. Now, when we talk about project management and productivity tools, There are lots of tools online that you can use. It actually means that you are able to help individuals to manage their time, stay organized, and even achieve their goals. So all of these apps, they help you to automate repetitive processes. They also help you to provide some sort of centralized location for important information to be shared. So if you've never heard of these ones before, you can try your hands on any of them and see how much it works for you, or it actually does work for your team. Now, one of the final things we'll be talking about in time management is the Eisenhower toolbox. Now, this is the time management quadrant that puts time quadrants into the things that are urgent, not urgent, the things that are important and not important. So, for example, the things that fall into the category of urgent and important are things you need to manage, and they're the things you have to do now. Now, what does that mean? It means that things like crises, emergencies, medical or family issues, pressing problems, you focus on them and make sure that you are willing and ready to go. Now, for the things that are not urgent, but very important as well, there are things you need to focus on. The way to focus on this is to decide when to do it. So things like exercise, things like vacation, presentations that you need to plan for, and all of those things, they are not urgent, but they are important, and they are things you need to actually plan for. Now, the third quadrant are the things you actually need to avoid, because there are things that are urgent, but not important. These things, it's better to delegate them to other people to do. So things like some calls are not important, distractions, some mails and reports, just find a way to delegate so that you can save yourself more time. And the fourth one are the things that are not urgent and not important. What this falls into the category are the things you should completely avoid. Things like busybody, chatting, social media during work hours, and some calls that are not necessary. This is not very important for you. So you need to understand that the best way to make use of time management is to understand the concept that is actually more about mind management than time management. And the thing about time management is you have to see this way, that time is like money. Because now, the thing about time now is that even though you can make money back, but you cannot make time back. You only have 24 hours a day to do everything and anything. And so you need to have that as your mind, that everything you're setting your hand to do, is it very important? And will it draw you closer to the goals that you have in mind? Okay, so when we have ventured into time management, it also key to now look at problem solving and critical thinking. Now, critical thinking is very important. And the key thing that we need to understand here about critical thinking is that you cannot solve a problem well without critical thinking. So critical thinking is a very important tool that organizations and employees must use. Now, what really is critical thinking, or how can we understand it? Now, critical thinking in itself is just a process of thinking carefully about a subject or an idea without allowing your feelings to come into it. It's that simple, okay? You need to look at things objectively. You need to look at things critically. You need to look at things without bias. So why is critical thinking important in the workplace? Now, one of the things you need to understand is that critical thinking actually helps to enhance communication. It brings out creativity and helps to solve problems. And so thinking critically in the workplace allows you to connect ideas, evaluate arguments, find errors in statement, and also solve complex issues. And these are some of the things that happens every day at the workplace. So you need critical thinking to be able to actually fully go through the work, daily demands, in order to come out successful and on top. So let's quickly look at what we have on the screen right now. Now, critical thinking helps you to improve your decision making. It helps you to enhance your problem solving abilities. It actually helps you to research skills, because you cannot do critical thinking well without research. It polishes on your creativity because you find new ways of doing things, and then it actually does stimulate curiosity. Okay, so improving critical thinking in the workplace, there are 3 simple steps. Number one, you never go wrong by asking questions. Questioning is a great way to learn about a situation, and it helps expand how you actually think about things. Number two is that you need to consider the source of the material or the problem or the context that you're engaging with. So you have to examine if there may be other possible solutions or perspective. Don't think every question just has one answer. Sometimes it might actually have more answers than you realize. Now, in the point of research, like I mentioned earlier, research doesn't always mean going online to Google to search. It can actually mean getting the opinion of more than one people, having some form of discussion with them and find out what their views actually are. So all of these things make you a better person and increases your chances of getting things done. There is an important tool in critical thinking, which is called the ladder of inference. This is a way to move from vague things to a more critically accurate way of engaging and interacting with things. So let's look at it for a moment. Now, when we talk about this, the steps is you go from down to top. So you ask yourself, when there's a problem or a challenge, what's the available data that I have? So you need to begin to observe the realities around you. Now, from the realities you've been able to observe, now you should select the data. What that means is that, what did I ignore, or what didn't I pay attention to? Or are there other sources of data I didn't consider? You have to consider and think and ponder on this. Now, after you have pondered on this, then you must interpret the data that you have. So are you looking at it objectively? Are your personal biases coming into it? What other meanings could they have? Try to explore all the available options that you have, because the more options you have, the better it is for you. The options you have will now help to inform your assumptions, knowing, are your assumptions valid? Why are you actually assuming this particular thing? Is it true? Is it false? Is it valid enough? You need to begin to now question your assumptions to fish out the one that is most suitable. And so when you get to that point of fishing out the one that is most suitable, then you're moving closely towards the conclusion. So why did you conclude this? Why is this your conclusion? What are your assumptions there about this conclusion? Have you heard other person's conclusion? Is it similar to yours? All of these things helps you to get something better. And you also need to know that sometimes your beliefs come into it, and your beliefs affect the way you see things. And that's why it's always good to not be too homogeneous in the way you engage things. Other people's belief system, people that do not work in the same place, have external sources in order to have some form of validity. And then when you've gotten to this point, you can now begin to think in terms of actions. So why do I believe this is going to be the right action? What are some alternative options? So you can see that the thing in critical thinking is, do not just stick to one way, one solution. Always work with options. The more options you have, the better you're going to get for this. So when it comes to critical thinking, there are a couple of books that can help you out. These are the books you can see on your screen. Always keep moving, keep growing, and keep developing yourself. Now, we're moving closer to the end. This is goal setting, which is now we're putting all of these things together in goal setting. Now, what are the benefits of effective goal setting? They are very important. All of your time management, your skills, critical thinking, they must begin to reflect in your goals. Why is that important? Now, goals give you a sense of direction. Okay, so you are able to clarify what you want and the direction for the future. Now, it also sets the tone for inspiration, because it inspires you to keep going until you reach the end of the destination. And there's always ways to measure it, okay? A way you can continue to evaluate on your life that you're on the right path. That gives you a sense of priority as well. There are some things you have to focus on, and there are some things you do not do because it is not in line with your goals. And at the end, when you set your goals and you meet those goals, obviously it brings this sense of happiness to you. And this happiness can now help you into the next goal, in order to improve and to become better. Now, what are the principles of goal setting? What are the things and the concepts that you need to have in your mind when you're engaging in goal setting? They are quite simple. You must have a sense of clarity, a sense of challenge, sense of commitment. You must also get feedback from people and also complexity. Now, all of these things will help you to improve the quality of your goal setting and make sure that you put yourself in the best way, the best stand, the best position of actually meeting and even surpassing these goal setting. And so the success drivers of your goal, these are the things that enable you to succeed when you're working towards a goal. We'll touch on just 3 of them for now. Number 1, how important is the goal to you? That goal you have set, how important is it to you? How confident are you about reaching or achieving this? So is it a realistic goal for you? And also, how consistent is the goal with your core beliefs and your values? If the goal is not consistent with your core values and beliefs, that motivation to get there, to get to the end, will not really be there for you. So it's important to answer these questions and see if it puts you in a successful drive towards achieving your goals. So for the year, the final thing that encapsulates all of these things is what we call vision. You must have a sense of vision. What do you see at the end? What do you see of yourself? What do you see of your organization? 12 months from now, 6 months from now, 3 months from now, what do you see yourself becoming? What value do you see yourself bringing to the organization? And so this is where the concept of vision board is very key. And so for vision board, you just have to think about the 7 core life areas, and you must have visions and plans for them. Okay, so areas like your physical body, your fitness, your weight, whatever, your mind, so knowledge gap and all of that, emotional intelligence, the relationships in your life, your career, your business, your finances, social life, and even spiritually as well. So you must have all of these in your vision board. So how do we go about actually now having that vision board? It's simple. So there's a simple way to go about it. You can use Canva. So Canva is this online app that you can use to get pictures, and put things into place. So the way to go about it is you open Canva. So you launch it, and search for the option of vision board. So once you find vision board, you choose a template that works for you, and then begin to get the pictures that match those areas. All right, customize it as a design for you, and then print it maybe on your phone or somewhere that you would always see it. It's very important to keep your vision in front of your eyes in order to be consistent and to remember it. One of an activity that can help us with this is, once you have all of these things together, the image of success becomes clearer to you. And so as you begin to advance through the year, what are your goals? How have you equipped yourself to solve problems, to think critically? Are you managing your time well? Are you managing your task well? Are you managing your emotions well? Are you managing your energy well? And then all of these things now come together into personal effectiveness. Do you have all the skills? Are you maximizing all the things you have to drive your life to the next phase, to a higher level, to the next level, to a more productive and successful level? And so this is how you need to think. Pele, the famous footballer, said this. He said, and I quote, "Success is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, love of what you are doing and what you are learning to do." That means that whichever place you find yourself, decide to put your best in that place, decide to love it, decide to enjoy it, and get most satisfaction from it. And I can guarantee you that when you set all of these things right, you stand a very high chance of getting very good returns, not just from your life, but from the organization that you work with. Okay? So it's just important that you start the year on a very good note, so that the rest of the year you can have a sense of success, goal, plan, strategy, and everything begins to work well for you. Okay, so it's very important that you set all of this and you have them as your goal. So that's just it, and I really do hope and look forward to everyone doing a whole lot better and getting so much for their lives, okay? And so we're going to pull down the curtains here, but more than important, I want you to think about it. That what are the things in your life and in your area that you really want to advance in? Write them down, note them down, and then begin to draft your way to improve and to grow in all of those things, okay? So that is very key. It's also important to stress the fact that, we can always ask for questions, and we'll be more than happy to send it to you. Whatever questions you have, you can always go to learning@streetsetintegrated.com, and we'll be more than happy to help you. As an organization, if you also have specific training needs, we will be more than happy to engage you. So have a conversation with us, shoot us an email, and we're going to have that conversation. It's our desire that everyone who works in an organization becomes better for it. And then that gives them the chances of staying there and even staying much longer. All right. So we're going to be ending this session here. I want to thank everyone who has taken their time to stay through all the way to the end. We don't take this for granted at all, and we really do appreciate you. So have a lovely day and enjoy the rest of your evening.